Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP caught his wife in a lie. Let's begin. My sister revealed the secret, and I don't know what to do about it. Posted by Reddit user Hello Painful. So I don't really know how to start this, so I will start from the beginning. I come from a really dysfunctional family and always grew up around chaos, drama, and abuse of all sorts. Being yelled at and living violence was our normal daily life. My two younger sisters are the daughters of a man making us live through hell and back. I'll call them respectively Anne and Steph. Growing up, I was always closer to Anne since we've been through the same type of abuse from the same man. Steph was our mom's favorite, so even though she lived some trauma too, it wasn't as much, or so I thought. Becoming adults, things have shifted. Anne moved to another city that was kinda close, so I only saw her on holidays and that type of stuff. Steph though, we became closer every year. I realized she felt like being kept apart most of her life, and despite living less violence than Anne and I, she went through her load of bullshit too. Recently, I went to see her with my girlfriend, and she felt comfortable to reveal some childhood secrets I didn't expect. Anne abused her from when she was 6 years old to when she turned 11. She never spoke about this to anyone. She finally felt secured enough in our relationship to talk about it. At first, I wasn't surprised really. Anne always had issues with being too sexual even when she was only 9 years old. She would be kicked out of schools because of her behavior, but we never thought she did that behavior at home. She told us Anne forced her to get eaten out, watch porn, learn how to have sex with men and women when she was only 6-ish years old and even more. To say I was shocked is an understatement. I still don't know what to do about it. I know Anne had sexual abuse going on with her birth mother, and her father abused her in that way for 3-ish years. But I didn't know she repeated the pattern with our younger sister. I'm torn between waiting to beat the shit out of her and understanding where she comes from. I'm not condoning at all what happened and what she did. Knowing everything she's been through, I understand why she did it. Hurt people, they say, right? But what to do when it's your sister? I want to tell my mom, but I don't want to make my already dysfunctional family implode even more than it did before. We were just starting to become united like a family is supposed to be. We were healing, slowly, but still. Now I just don't know what to do outside of being present for my baby sister and giving her all the support that I can. Holy hell, OP. I'm sorry to say this, but this is definitely way above a random YouTuber's pay grade. I strongly suggest getting professional help from a therapist. I wish you and your family the best, man. I truly do. And now for today's second story. I discovered my wife having an emotional affair with her coworker. Posted by Reddit user Leatherwall. My wife and I had been together for 7 years, married for 5. We do not have any children. We both work in healthcare and emergency services at different employers and work long shifts, 24 hours on with days off. For the past 6 months or so, my wife had been becoming increasingly critical, more argumentative, and set off by many small things. She is taking classes currently, and I contribute this behavior to stress related to her class load. This culminated in a conversation she had with me in mid-September, where she presented me with 2 ultimatums. The first was that she told me she was moving across the country to another city to pursue her career, and that if I was not willing to move with her, that I needed to file for divorce. My primary concern with this first issue is that I was never informed of her decision prior to her making it. At the very least, I needed to be included in the conversation since it would impact both of us, of course. The second item she presented was a desire to not have children, ever according to her. This surprised me because prior to this, we were trying for a child and has discussed having a family together prior to our relationship and during up until this time. As you can imagine, this was really concerning to me and hurt me a lot. She and I both talked about it in length over the next few weeks. She eventually remarked she would be willing to reconsider moving to another city, not just the one she had presented, but that she didn't like where we lived and wanted to explore new experiences elsewhere. Near the end of September, my wife was moved to another area at work and was assigned a partner. This guy is going through a divorce, and my wife told me he was in a relationship with his last partner that soured. Before my wife was assigned to work with him, they seemed to get along well, and she stated she enjoyed learning from him. But for all I could tell, it was a normal platonic work relationship. I found out the first week of October that she and him were working out together. She told me and acted like it wasn't a big deal. She told me she enjoyed having him there because he was a good encouragement to her and pushed her to do better. I told her that I didn't want her to be in a position where she could have an inappropriate relationship and to protect herself in that regard. She agreed and emphasized that she had no interest in him other than him being a coworker. I told her again to be careful since we were working on our own issues as listed above. A few days later, I also learned that she and him had gone out to eat after working out a couple of times. She was the one who told me. I also noted she had changed the passcode of her phone, was becoming very protective over it, something that she has never done before, and had iMessage threads with him. After this, I told her she needed to leave him at work and not hang out with him outside work, and that I felt uncomfortable with the relationship. She assured me she didn't feel anything for him and that he was just a coworker. She agreed to stop spending time with him other than being on the clock at work. I never learned of any other meetings or them working out again after this point. Fast forward to the other day. For all of October and into November, my wife and I had been talking about our differences and how to strengthen our relationship. I was home and wanted to watch a series on Netflix. I decided to use my wife's iPad that I rarely use. When I opened it, the iPad was in an iMessage, and I noted that she had a text thread with her coworker there. Being curious, I took a look and discovered they had been talking to each other in September and October. Oddly, the thread ended mid-conversation. More on this later. Most of the messages were normal coworker things, but my wife did wish her coworker a happy birthday and called him babe once. He also called her dear on multiple occasions. There was also a message where he asked if he could talk to her about that other thing, and she said no because she was beside me. I kept digging and found an iMessage thread between my wife and her best friend. The best friend lives in another state, but they message regularly. In this thread, I found more very concerning messages. Basically, my wife admits to falling for the coworker and asks for advice on how to deal with the situation. My wife also asked for advice on how to delete her iMessages permanently. After my wife got home, I noticed she no longer had an iMessage thread on her phone to her coworker, meaning she had deleted the messages. I also saw that she had deleted any messages in the deleted folder under iMessage. I looked up our cell phone bill and noted about 10 or so 1 to 2 hour calls between them in the last 2 months. They had just a few SMMs that I could see there. It is clear that my wife is involved in an emotional relationship with this guy and has lied to me about it and attempted to cover her tracks with it. I need advice if I should confront her now with the evidence I have acquired to see if we could get her to admit to the relationship or any possible physicality to it, or if I should just try and wait to gather more information. I have a hard line of cheating and she is aware of that, and I'm still considering my options regarding this. TLDR, I found out that my wife is having an emotional affair with a coworker and need advice on how to proceed. Thank you all for taking the time to read this. I will do my best to reply as soon as I can. OP, just her telling you she will divorce you if you don't fall in line with her moving decisions shows exactly that she is about done with your relationship. Adding that affair on top, and I'm not seeing much of hope here. The reason why she is having affairs now is because she is trying to monkey branch. She doesn't need you anymore. She doesn't want you anymore. Honestly, I would not confront her at all. I would just serve her the divorce papers at work. OP, I would never put up with the shit she is trying to pull here. But hey, that's just me. Your choice, my dude. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.